Am I too young to marry? At what age can we be bound to another individual as partners in a long-term relationship? 18 years old? 16? 14? 12? According to the United Nations Population Fund, 114 million girls will be married before the age of 18 in the coming decade. That makes 14 million girls a year. Could the first 3 rows please stand up? By the end of this talk, 30 teenagers, just like you and me, will be wedded worldwide. Thank you. Picture this. You are a 17-year-old girl and are finishing high school in a small town in Kyrgyzstan. You are a stellar student with excellent grades, especially in maths. In fact, your grades are so good that you are admitted to one of the best universities of economics in Moscow. You are so excited to go. It is your last day of school and you're walking home. You have your high school diploma in your bag. You are to leave for Moscow in a week's time. A car stops in front of you and 3 men step out. They overpower you, dragging your squirming body to the car. You fight them, kicking, punching, screaming. They tear at your hair, they rip your clothes. The people across from you on the street just stand by and watch. They take you to a small town and into a room filled with women. They greet you and immediately start to undress you, offering you different clothes, saying that your future husband cannot see you looking so indecent. You don't understand what they're talking about. They congratulate you, but of course you're about to get married. You say, I don't know what you're talking about, but they don't listen. Eventually, they tell you the name of the man who is to become your future husband. You recall the name. It is a man who you met for only a few minutes at a large family gathering several months ago. You remember how his mother approached your parents to ask whether they would like to have this man as a husband for their daughter. They called you and asked you if you would agree to it. You laugh and are saying that you are going to Moscow. Except that this man does not accept no for an answer. So he organizes a kidnapping, which is tradition in your region, except that you never thought it would happen to you. You keep crying and refusing to put on the bridal dress. This goes on for several days, whilst the women are continuously threatening you. They tell you that if you refuse to marry this man, you will dishonor your family. You keep crying, but you do not give up. You beg for your parents, and eventually they are brought to the house. You scream, please help me, get me out of here. But your mother gives you a heartbroken look and asks you to accept your destiny and be proud that a well-respected man wants to marry you. You say, no, but I don't want to. And she's pushed out of the door, and the door slams behind her. You have no way out. The mother of your future husband walks in and tells you that your parents have agreed for the wedding to take place. You ask her, if I agree to get married, can I go study in Moscow? She tells you, but of course. And your husband will go with you because a married woman should not live alone in a distant city. You don't remember much about the wedding. It took several days. There were hundreds of people, and you cried for most of it. Immediately after the wedding, your husband tells you that there is no chance that you are going to Moscow to study, as your place is in the house, cooking and cleaning. You can't believe it. A month after the wedding, you realize that you're pregnant. You deliver a baby boy, still being 17 years of age. Your husband proves to be a rude and a violent man who abuses you for many years. One day, you remember your dream of going to Moscow, so you pack a small bag, you grab your son, and you run. You manage to get to Moscow by changing trains over a dozen times and find a place to stay with a distant relative. Except that meanwhile, your husband already makes himself on his way, together with his family. You know that if they will find you, they will hurt you, or worse, kill you, because you have brought shame to the family name, and you need to be put in your place. You know that they will find you anywhere in Moscow, or anywhere else in the former Soviet Union. Except you don't have any money to go abroad. You don't speak a foreign language. You don't have any travel documents. As you wander the streets with your son, you see a foreign flag on the building across from you. In despair, you knock on the door. A man opens and asks you something in a language that you don't understand. You say, help. It's the only thing that you can say. He notices your bruises. You're crying. You're trembling. Your son is fearfully clinging to your side. He lets you in. You find yourself in the Canadian embassy, and an interpreter is called. You tell your story. The ambassador allows you to stay with them whilst he tries to verify if your story is true. You stay in the embassy for several weeks when the decision is taken to allow you to have asylum in Canada, and they finally fly you to Toronto. 8 years of daily abuse have ended, but you will never forgive the people, including your parents, who allowed it to happen. Except that this is not your story. This is the story of Anna, a family friend of mine. Nowadays, Anna is a brilliant economist who works for a well-known international organization, but she will always have to carry the pain and the horrors of her teenage years with her. So what exactly makes child marriage acceptable or even desirable in so many cultures? Frequently, child marriages are arranged to prevent young people from having romantic relationships outside of their religious or ethnic groups, this way preserving their cultural and religious values. In some cases, the reasons are purely financial, to ensure that property and wealth remain in the family, to reduce the number of children that have to be fed by the family, or simply to get the money that prospective husbands pay for these young girls. In some cases, the motives are even superstitious, as there are many beliefs that state that if you marry a girl before she has reached puberty, there will be blessings onto the family. And often, the reasons for child marriage appear to come from a good cause, to provide a caretaker for a disabled relative of the husband's family, or to protect young girls from sexual aggression. Except the terrifying truth is that many of these young girls are forced into violent environments and sexual abuse, resulting in unwanted pregnancies. They are robbed of their childhoods, deprived of their right to education, and their lives are destroyed. Child marriage is on the edge of a conflict between culture, tradition, and the fundamental rights of a child. So am I, or are all of you too young to get married? 40,000 children will be married today. I believe that there is a solution. Education. Education for the girls, for the boys, for the younger and for the older generation. Only through education can we eradicate superstitions and narrow-mindedness. Only through education can we ensure that the economic situation and the living environment of these families are improved. Everybody deserves the right to education, to live, to grow up as a child. Everybody deserves to choose freely with whom they wish to start a family. And nobody should be forced into marrying a stranger who has the power to limit their future.